I joined my niece, Donnell Reese, about a year ago in Rodin and Fields, and I was able to go ahead and retire early from my civil service career. I worked for the government. I loved my job. I worked for the government for 34 years. I climbed the ladder of success in those 34 years, and I was making a six-digit salary, and my job was very demanding. I was the chief of resource management, and it was demanding, it was stressful. I went in early of a morning, I stayed late at night, I missed some of my kids' games and even some of my grandkids' sports and activities because I had to work, had to be there. But it was a very rewarding job. I got to make a difference in the lives of soldiers and civilians that serve our great nation. So that was very rewarding to me. I want to go back a few years with my story. My story's a little bit different. I faced some unexpected things that happened to me and the unknown. I lost my husband a few years ago to cancer. He had bone cancer. And that threw us back. It set me back. And he was a warrior. He fought that bone cancer for 13 years. We went ahead and lived our life. He was a true soldier. He served the Army 28 years. He was a warrior. He deployed thousands of soldiers to war, and he brought them back safely to their families. So I have a picture of him today. This is my gym, and he was just a man of granite discipline and unyielding resolve. I loved him. I watched him serve, and he served extensively in command and troop leadership positions across the Army and throughout the world. And when he retired, we opened our own defense contracting business where we continued to serve this great nation. We supported the Battle Lab at Fort Sill with all the new weapons systems. Our life was so perfect. Our life was joyful. Even though in spite of this dreadful disease of cancer, we fought life to the very end joyfully, and we had fun, and he was my confidant and my friend. And all of a sudden, I knew the doctors were telling us that he didn't have long to live, but I pushed that back in the back of my mind. I thought, no, we are going to keep on living. We're going to keep on dreaming just like we always have. And I thought every once in a while, I thought, no, I need to have a plan B for my life. I didn't need anything financially because we were well set financially. But I knew one day if I lost my gym, what would I do? What in the world would I do? And that day happened. Life threw me a curveball, and I had to deal with it. And it was unexpected, even though I knew that time was going to come. You guys, you are never, ever, ever ready for that day when you lose a spouse or a loved one. And that was very difficult to me. My dreams were shattered. I thought my life was over. I felt like I had a period, that someone placed a period at the end of my life. I felt alone. I had my grandchildren, I had my kids, I had my sisters and my beautiful nieces and nephews, but I still felt so alone, and I was fearful. I was fearful of the unknown. And I knew I needed that plan B, and I didn't plan for it. And I thought, oh my gosh. And financially, I was set, didn't have to worry. So, tinged with tears of fear running down my face and tears of grief, I went to my study because during Jim's illness, he developed a book for me. And this is a how-to book, and I knew he was working on the book. I never wanted to see the book because I didn't want to talk about death and him not being with me anymore, but he was such a planner and he wanted everything in place. So I went to that book one day in my study, and I sat down and I picked it up, and you guys, this book had 20 chapters in it, It had all of his veterans documents. It had his military documents, his DD-214, all of those important papers that I would need when I would have to go to casualty. I knew he had his funeral arrangements in there. I never wanted to see that, but I did have to go to that chapter. A chapter caught my attention that I did not know that he was preparing for me. It was chapter 16, and it was a how-to guide for me. Nita J, and that's what he called me. Nita J, this is how to buy a car, how to fix a flat tire, how to restart your life. You know, he taught me all of those core values of how to be a leader, and how to, in my career, taught me how to be a leader. All those core values that we teach to a soldier and the soldierization that they go through to make those young men, those young boys into men today to serve our great nation. I had all those core values instilled in me. And so I knew that I had to do something. I had some choices in my life. I could either sit there and be fearful and feel alone and do nothing, or I knew I had a choice that I could move forward with my life. Jim was an Auburn graduate, a very proud Auburn graduate. And if you know anything about Auburn, when they win a victorious game, they go to Toomer's Corner and they roll toilet paper all over those oak trees. And it was called Roll the Corner. And when life or blows or certain things, unexpected things happen to you or to us, Jim would say, Nita J, roll the corner. Get up. Move again. Let's get going. It's just a setback for now. Your setbacks are just setups. I've heard that quote many, many times. And so I felt like he was telling me to roll the corner, Nita J. You got to move forward. Honey, you got to get up and go. And that's what I chose to do because I was a planner too, just like Jim. I wanted to dream big again. I wanted to dream bigger. I wanted to rebuild my vision. I wanted to redefine my purpose. I wanted to have a plan for my life and to put that plan into action where I could reach bigger goals and bigger dreams that I had in my life and in my future that I didn't even know were out there. You see, I was a visionary. I was an achiever and I was a dreamer. And Rodan and Phil's teaches you how to be a dreamer, how to dream big and achieve your goals and plans for your life. That's what I loved about this company. So I'm in a transition now. During that distraught period of my life, I had another blow come my way, another unknown. My dear little mother was 87 years old, and she kind of filled that void for me when I lost Jim. She was there for me. She was my best friend. And we got news that we weren't going to have her very much longer. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can take another incredible loss in my family. And my sweet little niece, Donnell, was coming over and I watched her. I was having to invoke Family Medical Leave Act so that I could be home with my mother. Donnell, on the other hand, was working Rodan and Phil's, and she just got to come down. And oh, how we enjoyed her when she would get there, and we would visit with her, and me and my mother would talk about, gosh, her face is changing right before our very eyes. You see, Donnell was always pregnant. She had 5 kids, and she would, through all of this pregnancy, she had this hormonal thing going on, so she had melasma on her face. And melasma is kind of like a brown covering. Well, as I was approaching my latter years, in my 60s, I was seeing some results of some things that I did back in my college days, which was buying a bottle of baby oil and pouring the iodine in it and lathering it on my body. I would schedule my Cameron classes around when the sun was shining so that I could go out and suntan. We didn't have suntanning beds in the day that I knew of. So we would lay out in the backyard. Well, my skin was showing those results. I was getting the big brown spots all over my face. I had gone to the dermatologist. I thought, we've got to do something about this because this is a mess. And I was getting more and more of them. I was buying more and more high-end products. And the good products, I even sold some of those products, and I was putting them on my skin, spending my money on those products, and nothing was transforming my skin. So I asked Donnell one day, I said, Donnell, your face is incredible. It is changing. All that brown melasma is gone. What are you doing? And she said, it is called Rodan and Fields. I had never ever heard of Rodan and Fields. And I thought, I want it. Whatever it is, set me up with it. I want to try it. So I became a preferred customer of hers. And I started using reverse lightning. And in 3 weeks, I started noticing an incredible change in my skin. The brown spots were disappearing, and my folks at work, my team was commenting on my face, and my friends were commenting, and they were wanting to know what in the world is going on with your face. It kind of started giving me a complex because I thought I knew it was a mess, but they did too. And so I was just hooking them up with Donnell. I said, I am going to bring my regimen, I'm going to put it in my bag, and I'm going to bring it to work. So we would meet at lunch. I would meet on a break. I would pull out my little reverse lightning regimen, and I would share it with them. And I would send them to Donnell and connect. I sent her so many customers. Donnell, if you're listening, I would truly, really like to have those customers back. Anyway, I kept sending them to her, and they were loving it, and their face and skin was changing. And I just fell madly in love with the product. I am very passionate about it, and I wanted everybody with skin to know about it. I wanted to share it. And Donnell called me and she said, Nita, she said, you are already working this business. I want you to join me as a consultant. And I said, absolutely not. I am too busy. I am way too old to do this. I'm a caregiver to my mother. I had excuse after excuse after excuse. And I told that poor girl no. I think I was her biggest no. And I waited a whole year. I would even call her at night, and it'd be 10:30 at night, and I say, I changed my mind. I'm loving this product, and I think I may want to do this. And the next morning, I would call her back and say, I'm too busy. I can't do it. So she was so precious and so patient with me. She never pressured me about anything. And what she didn't know was that I was watching her behind the scenes. And not only was her skin changing, but I watched her life change right before my very eyes. I watched her resign from her full-time job. I watched her start traveling with my nephew, Brandon. He is an artist, a ceramic artist, and they were starting to travel abroad. And I started noticing, well, his business is flourishing. She's got time freedom now. She is doing more things with her 5 kids. Trust me, they were busy. I mean, sports, activities, volleyball, wrestling. She was going everywhere. And I was watching that. And I watched her team grow. I watched her promote with this business. I watched her team promote with this business. And I thought, she's traveling abroad. And I thought, my gosh, I want that. I love this. I love this. And I wanted what she had. I knew it was real. And I knew I was passionate about the product already. I knew I couldn't live without it. I wanted everyone to know about it. But I wanted more. I wanted more. I wanted a richer life. And I knew back in the day, me and Jim had a great impact on other people. We were big givers. And I wanted to do that again. I wanted to give. And I knew there was a program with Rodan and Fields called Prescription for Change, and the Build On program. And they give and take young people and make them into leaders. And I saw her give to that, and she told me about that, and I wanted that. I fell in love with the idea of joining a global business that was already in, that had moved into direct sales. And I love the idea of being a CEO again of my own business, because we sold our defense contracting business, and I missed that. So I knew I could be my own CEO again. And again, it would leave me, I would be able to leave a legacy to my kids and to my grandchildren. And more than anything else in the world, I miss not being able to talk to my Jim and to ask him, honey, what should I do? is this a good business opportunity? Because he was the businessman of our family, and he would know what to do. And I felt in my heart of hearts that Jim was saying, yes, do this. Get up, roll the corner, Nita J, and move forward and take this gift and accept it. And so I did. After 1 year, I said yes to Donnell. Now, I wished I had that year back. I truly, really do. I wished I hadn't procrastinated like I did. And so I was a skeptic. I had no idea in the world or understand where this journey was going to take me. But I knew that you could retire from your job, because I've already done that. Thanks to Rodan and Phil's, I retired early. And I knew that you could retire your spouse, because I've watched others in our company do that. I knew you could design your life around your kids. You could travel abroad, and you could volunteer your time and your money, and you could give to those causes and those charitable organizations that were your heart, where you could help others. And if you'd have told me a year ago that I would have a team of 34 people, that I would be making 12 extra paychecks, and that they would be high 4-digit salary paychecks, I would never, ever have believed you. I just wouldn't have believed you. And even though I didn't get in this for the money, I got in it for the relationships, and it's been amazing. And I want to just ask you today, what if life threw you a curveball? What if you had a choice that you were going to have to make? What is your plan B? What are you going to do? So whoever invited you today to listen in on this, I would ask that you ask that question of yourself. Don't be a skeptic like I was. Don't procrastinate, for goodness sake. And do what Jim said. Don't wait. Roll the corner and be all in. I love you guys.